This exciting announcement of the new Golden Fleet.
President Donald Trump is jumpstarting a new initiative to beef up the nation's supply of warships.
They'll help maintain American military supremacy, revive the American shipbuilding industry, and inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world.
He says the goal is to build as many as 25 new battleships.
They'll be the fastest, the biggest.
He made the announcement next to the head of the Navy, Secretary of State, and Secretary of War at Mar-a-Lago, amid escalating tensions with Venezuela. Over the weekend, the U.S. Coast Guard went after another oil vessel in the Caribbean. The White House alleges the tanker was part of a Venezuelan shadow fleet to traffic stolen oil.
Real deterrence.
This follows a series of deadly military strikes targeting alleged drug boats off the coast of Venezuela.
And with every strike, we're saving American lives.
The strikes have sparked bipartisan pushback.
All these designations are steps towards war. I'm not for any of this.
We should not be waging war against Venezuela.
Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro, is accusing the U.S. of war crimes and trying to kick him out of office. Monday, President Trump warned if Venezuela escalates,
They're going to end up having a big problem. They're going to get blown to pieces.
In Washington, Raquel Martin.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes 3, and I'll start at 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. And we are indeed in that time of war. First and foremost, before I get started, I want to thank Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me this truth. Salutation, you brothers and sisters that are out to listen and learn, fighting this good fight of faith. And the salutation to my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To you all, I want to say shalom. No, we pray that this quick lesson be edifying to the elect. So we are indeed in some very interesting times, prophetically, prophetic, prophecies, are unfolding before our very eyes. And we can see that these nations are gearing up for war, man. And let me get this off. It's a lock here. And I got a couple articles I kind of want to, just mention and everything, and then some precepts, just showing that the times that we're in, because the scriptures say, let's get that. Here's the second Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? And how do you measure the times? You look at current events, and you filter them through the scriptures, man. So we're seeing all these different events that are going on in the world, and we're seeing how much closer we are to the end of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the self-proclaimed white man's world. How close we are to the end of their world. So this is from Al Jazeera, and it says, Trump warns Maduro not to play tough as Russia and China back Venezuela. Right? So real quick before we get into this, I asked ChatGPT, of course, seeing, I always want to slot it 1 second. Hey, Salakia. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, how does Russia feel about the U.S. and Venezuela conflict? And it says, here's a clear picture of how Russia feels about the current U.S.-Venezuela conflict, especially in light of the recent escalation with U.S. naval pressure and sanctions as of late December 2025, which is where we're now. So it says, official Russian position, strong political support for Venezuela and Maduro. Russia has repeatedly stated that it stands shoulder to shoulder with Venezuelan leadership and defends Venezuela's national sovereignty against external U.S. pressure. Moscow uses Caracas as a strategic partner and ally and has officially reaffirmed the support and diplomatic statements. Condemnation of U.S. actions. Russian officials have criticized U.S. military deployments in the Caribbean and actions like blockades or strikes on vessels as destabilizing, unjustified, and a threat to regional peace. They portray U.S. moves as escalation and exerting political pressure under pretexts like counter-drug operations or sanctions. Warnings against escalation. Moscow has repeatedly urged the U.S. to avoid sliding into full-scale conflict or making a fatal mistake, quote-unquote, that could worsen the situation, emphasizing that military intervention won't resolve the underlying issue, right? So we see where where Putin stands and Russia stands on this, right? And China is backing Russia. So let's read a little bit of this, right? United States President, this was published today, actually, yep. December 23rd, 2025. U.S. President DJ Nero Trump has issued a warning to Nicolas Maduro, saying it would be smart for the Venezuelan leader to step down as Washington escalated a pressure campaign that drew sharp rebukes from Russia and China. Speaking at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida on Monday, flanked by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Trump suggested he was prepared to further ratchet up the tensions after 4 months of mounting pressure on Caracas. I guess that's how you say it, Slovakia, if I'm saying it wrong. When asked if the goal was to force Maduro from power, Trump told reporters, well, I think it probably would. That's up to him what he wants to do. I think it'd be smart for him to do that, but again, we're gonna find out. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough, the U.S. leader added. Trump levied his latest threat as the U.S. Coast Guard continued for a second day to chase a third oil tanker, which is described as part of a dark, quote-unquote, dark fleet that Venezuela uses to evade U.S. sanctions, man. So the hammer of the earth, Babylon, is going around terrorizing, and Russia and China are not they're not having it, man. So let's read a couple articles of what's going on in Russia and China, right? So Trump is over there, making these battleships, and what are they doing over in China? This was December 22nd, yesterday. Why has China loaded over 100 nuclear ICBMs into silos, right? Literally putting them into the silos, ready to go. A draft Pentagon report reveals that China has likely loaded more than 100 solid-fuel DF-31 intercontinental ballistic missiles (ICBMs) into 3 silo fields near its border with Mongolia. This marks a significant step in Beijing's rapid nuclear modernization. The DF-31, known as Dongfeng or Eastwind, NATO designation CSS-10, is a 3-stage solid-fueled missile first deployed in 2006. It has variants including DF-31, DF-31A, and DF-31AG, with an estimated range of 4,350 to 7,270 miles, and capable of carrying a single 500-kilogram warhead yielding 200 to 300 kilotons. Right? So why are they, doing this over there, right? Because the prophecy says that, behold, Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, meaning the second war is past, and behold, the third woe, the third war, cometh quickly. So that's the time that we're coming into. So let's see what they're doing over in Russia. This is from Euromaidenpress.com. Nuclear weapons to maintain balance of power, Putin says, as Russia plans to deploy ICBM near NATO border amid peace talks. And this was the 17th of December, 2025. The Kremlin message is clear: stop supporting Ukraine or face other means. Russian ruler Vladimir Putin has stated that the Orishnik medium-range ballistic missile system will be placed on combat duty by the end of the year. His statements came while U.S. President Donald Trump is making efforts to establish peace in Ukraine. Putin has also praised the test of the nuclear-powered cruise missile and the Poseidon nuclear-powered underwater vehicle, emphasizing that these systems will continue to undergo improvement. It says nuclear forces as the cornerstone of Kremlin strategy. Putin has stated that Russia's nuclear forces will play a key role in deterring an aggressor. And who's that aggressor? Fucking Babylon, man. The hammer of the earth. Right? The scriptures say that Russia shall be a guard unto them. Onto who? The other nations. That Babylon is constantly targeting. And maintaining the global balance of power, he called the development of strategic nuclear forces one of the state's top priorities, man. So we see where this is going. We can see exactly where this is going. So let's get let's see, yeah, I'll just go straight to the point. Isaiah 9 and 5, because this new war that's going to happen, World War III, is not going to be, the way it was fought in the past. Isaiah 9 and 5, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, right? So you think about a movie like 300, where you got men screaming and you got swords hitting shields and people getting pushed and falling and getting cut, and it's not going to be like that. And garments rolled in blood, it's not going to be like that. This war will be, it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Those missiles are going to be the way that they're going to destroy each other, man, in this third world war, third woe. And the Lord has set this up. Isaiah 54:16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Right? So when you look at that movie, oh man, what's it called? Oppenheimer, with the guy that created the nuclear missile or nuclear bomb. He said that he had become the waster. Let me see if I can find it. Salaki. Destroyer of worlds, I think is how he said it. Let me see the images. Yeah, Robert Oppenheimer said, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Right? So the Lord put the spirit on him to create these weapons for his purpose, man. You know? Ultimately to destroy Babylon, man. Let me get that Jeremiah 50:14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Right? All ye that have this nuclear capability. That's what it's speaking about. These nuclear missiles are known as arrows in the scriptures. And even in modern time, in our time, the scriptures, I mean, they speak about an arrow, I mean, a missile that goes down or has a malfunction as a broken arrow. You know, this is not by coincidence. Bahasham Yahawashi set all this up meticulously, you know, very strategically, you know, so that the men of the Lord can report on these things and understand these things and let you brothers and sisters know what time we're in. Jeremiah 50:14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, all ye that have this nuclear capability. Right? Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord, man. And that's what we're seeing, you know. So I'll end off on this, because this is the time that we're in, and we're seeing the war drums beating louder and louder. You got Babylon creating these warships. You got, you know, China and Russia, you know, backing up Venezuela. Babylon's attacking Venezuela pretty much unprovoked and just being a hammer to Venezuela. And Russia and China aren't feeling that. And Russia and China have nuclear capabilities, man. You know? And China's over there loading up 100 ICBMs in silos right now, and Russia's getting prepared. All these nations are gearing up for war, man. Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares, which is farming equipment, right? So instead of focusing on agriculture, they're focusing on military might. You know, that's what these nations are doing, including Babylon. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong, right? Because a lot of the nations were afraid to come up against Babylon in times past, man. But they're not saying that anymore, man. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, man. These other nations, they have nuclear capability. Russia has some, you know, nuclear capability that compasses Babylon, man. China as well, certain technology, you know. So that's the weak saying they are strong. 11th verse. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Yahawashi, which is the valley of judgment. For there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about, man. You know, so all these heathens are gonna come and they're gonna be fighting, you know, against each other, and then Yahawashi is gonna come with the angels, and then they're gonna stop fighting, and then they're gonna fight against Yahawashi, and they're gonna lose miserably, man. You know, but this is prophecy that we're seeing play out right before our very eyes, man. So it's high time to wake out of sleep, Israel. You know, if you're still playing the fence, you know, and you know, you need to pray that Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi sends you the right prophets to teach you in the ways you need to go and repent, because in these last days there's a lot of false prophets that have gone out and that are deceiving many and leading them to destruction, man. You know, so you got to pray to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi in truth and sincerity that the Lord send, you know, a prophet, you know, your way, so that you can get this truth, and pray that the Lord gives you the faith and discernment to realize that that's a prophet and a man of the Lord, man. Because we are in some serious times, man, and it's about to go down, man. We're about to go into 2026, and things are escalating, man, constantly. And we need Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi more than ever, man. It's only going to continue to escalate, man. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, I just wanted to do this quick hit. You know, things are ramping up around the world. World War III is escalating. You know, it's ready to pop off. You know, the MO to the TB is ready to, you know, they're getting everything situated so they can, you know, get that implemented and everything. And the last few prophecies that need to happen are soon to come before our Lord and Savior Yahawashi, you know, comes to deliver, you know, the elect. In the Lord's will, we're of that number, man. So stay prayed up, brothers and sisters. You know, keep fighting that good fight of faith. I hope and pray that this lesson was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to thank Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the GMS who teach and rule well, taught me his truth. Salutation, you brothers and sisters that are out there listening, learning, fighting this good fight of faith. Keep fighting, keep striving, keep pushing. We're almost out of this bitch. Salutation, my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To you all, I want to say shalom, abba ball, and kwam yasharava. Hey, shalom. To the next one.